So I thought I'd show you something that is interesting. Look at this. Okay? I don't know if you can see that. 3 of them in there. 3 ribeyes at 1942. I mean, you go to Walmart, they're way more expensive than that, right? These ribeyes came from my local grocery store, and when I talked to the butcher, he said they came from Mexico. So are they feeding them something different? I don't know. They taste okay. So I really don't know. I don't have a clue. Here's what it is. Now, in this little one, I've got just under an ounce. Okay? In the bigger one, which is the titanium one, I've got like, I don't know, 3 ounces is what I got in there. And I'm going to make a stir fry. Now this thing here, not sure you can see it, is the ever new cross member bar, which I thought I'd pick up. And hopefully that makes us a tea. Now, this is going to make our stir fry. So, we're going to need some butter. Did you see Trump when he was talking to the girl from Japan? I just shook my head. No class, man. No class. She asked the question of, you know, why didn't you tell your allies what you were doing? And he sat back and said, well, why didn't you tell us about Japan when you attacked Pearl Harbor? Obviously, because of surprise. And I was like, oh my God, did you really just say that? When meanwhile, we dropped the atomic bomb on them? Now, she was very dignified and didn't say anything, but I was like, really? You need help, dude. You really do. Obviously, with all that money, they weren't giving you any form of an education. That's the only thing I can figure. So I've been putting together this alcohol setup and playing around with it. I think I've got most of it down pat. Now, you have to understand, this setup is not the lightest. I mean, with my cup set and the titanium stove and the titanium alcohol stove, I'm looking at just under 2 pounds. That's without fuel. To where with the fuel, I'm almost up to 11 pounds. That's how much fat came in that steak. Maybe I'll cook it up and cut it up and give it to my dogs later. But this is referred to as lemon pepper, which I love to death. Is what I do. Gives it a little zest. Now, I've got a 3-stage setup I'm working on. And some stuff comes in tomorrow, but I'll tell you about it. Basically, this allows me to cook wood, okay? So, sticks, because this is a titanium stick stove. Now, at the same time, it allows me to cook with alcohol, with an alcohol stove, which I'm cooking with the ever new titanium stove, which I like. Okay? I want to pick up another one instead of using that other one, that copper one you see there, because this one's a little bit heavier than the Ebony. So now I can cook a complete meal with a stir fry and want my tea. Now at the same time, the frying pan has some weight to it. I mean, you're literally looking at probably a 3.5 pound system with the frying pan. 2 pots, a pot, and a way to drink my tea is what you're looking at. That is if I want to take a way of making a meal. So I could take a steak, some mushrooms, 1 pepper, some onions out in the bush for one night, and have a nice meal of a stir fry is what I could have. And that is kind of nice. Now, with an alcohol stove, you understand we have no control over the flame. And that's why you see it spraying up every now and then. So that's very important. So first I cook my meat to take most of the blood out. Then I start adding my vegetables, which my vegetables are going to start dropping water, which is going to help with this cooking process because there is no setting. Unlike, a propane stove where you can turn it and set the setting. I think this is boiling already. Nope, it's getting there though. Now it's very quiet, so that's very nice. Helps for making a video, right? Okay, so I'm going to run the twig stove, which you see. And let's say it pours down, it's super wet. I come out of my tarp in the morning, I want to have a tea. I cannot have a tea because all the wood's soaking wet. The dampness is crazy. I can't beside a stream or water. And the wood's just too wet. And I want to play Mr. Survival Man. So what can I do? I can use my alcohol. So I can take the alcohol from here and use my alcohol. Now inside the Evernew cups, the type, what do you call it? The alcohol stove has measurements. I'm getting old, I don't see so good. So I bought some shot glasses. This will allow me to measure a 1/2 ounce, which I did for this to make this tea. 3 ounces, one of these is 1 ounce. Dump it in there to make my meal in the frying pan. So a little tiny plastic shot glass. When I drink tea, I use it in this. I need my tea in the bag, please. I do not use tea bags because the tea bags give off a fiber to them. Is what they do, which is not healthy for you. And they do things to them. So now I got my tea in there. It would have been nice to have that ready beforehand, but what are you going to do? So now everything's cooking in the frying pan. We're good. Okay, so I got the twig stove. If the wood's all wet, I can switch to alcohol. But let's say something happened to the alcohol. I spilled it, I knocked it over, whatever, my alcohol's gone. There is a backup item I have coming in. Now, you've heard of the Espit stoves where they put a capsule down. Everything I read on that stuff smelled like fish, smelled like garbage. It was horrible, is what it was. And I wasn't impressed. Now, apparently, in Britain, in UK, they make a type of, I don't know, a thing that's like an S-bit, but it doesn't stink like fish, like everything else. Theirs is the only one. So instead of losing my trip and having everything just come to an end, I can use one of those, which is apparently like a big cube of alcohol, which has something else in it. You can even wash your hands with it. That stuff comes in tomorrow. So, and it weighs grams. So having, maybe 4 of those in my kit as a backup in case something goes wrong would be awesome. I am at a roaring boil, as they say. Okay? And you need that when you make your tea. But, so no matter what, I am going to be able to cook a meal. And that's all there is to it. Now, there are other little things you can do with these alcohol stoves. I could take 3 steaks, my tent steaks, put not my tent steaks, my tarp steaks, and put them in the ground, and then put my alcohol stove on top, is what I can do, which is pretty awesome. I can use this cross-member Evernew thing I picked up and to also cook from. When you start putting this stuff together and really giving it some thought, it really gives you some versatility. Now, a lot of people do burn times and stuff like this. I prefer to actually cook a full meal and actually show it in action. I also have a windscreen coming in that was made by Vargo, which you can actually cook from the top of it. That comes in tomorrow too. Which allows me to put a windscreen around this one. Windscreen is very important with alcohol stoves. That's just all there is to it. With the stick stove, being you have a windscreen already around it, that's awesome. The goal is to be able to use 2 at the same time, simply because it's nice to have your tea or coffee or whatever you drink and your meal at the same time. That just makes sense. So with this complete setup, with fuel, everything, I'm literally looking at about 3.5 pounds. And that's with dishes, my scrubber for cleaning dishes and more. Now, I see a lot of people going crazy for those Triology, I can never say that word. Those sets that comes with the pot and everything, they're like $150. I looked at them and I wasn't impressed at all. I wasn't impressed. And that's because they serve, now I just ran out of fuel. Yep. And that's 3 ounces. But that's okay, we're done. They have non-stick frying pans, which is that coated stuff on them, which comes off in extreme heat, and the next thing you know you get that chemical in your body. I threw out all my non-stick. God, must have been over $100. Everything was switched over to stainless steel. You see the frying pan I use for camping? Stainless steel. Everything I run is titanium or stainless steel. That's it. I even had to throw out my water bottles that were plastic. I bought all kinds of them. Probably another $100, $200 in water bottles. Threw them out. Switched over to stainless steel bottles. I have looked at the titanium ones. They're like $100 a piece for the 40 ounces. Haven't pulled the trigger on that because I need 2. But, and because the weight difference isn't that much. But this setup, I can run, like I said, stick stove, alcohol, or the gel tabs. I have 3 ways to go, so no matter what, the trip is good. Nothing is going to make the trip fail. A lot of people say, well, alcohol's lighter. Well, if you just use an alcohol stove with a windscreen and a cup, sure it is. But if you want a decent meal and, you know, you want to have something nice, like so, you know, complete steak stir fry, then you're going to have to carry a little bit of weight. And at my age, I like to have something to taste decent. I don't take freeze-dried meals anymore. I don't do any of that whatsoever because they suck. They have high salt. They have all kinds of things. And the older I get, the more I try to take care of my body. It's just what I do. Even, you have to compare everything. You know, that entire set, the Trion G, whatever, that entire set is all aluminum. And they say if you eat a certain amount of aluminum, it's not good for you either. We don't have any scientific evidence on whether or not eating out of those dishes is good for you. They say, some say it's bad, some say it's good. We don't have any. But we do have evidence on nonstick is garbage for you. Now, they used to make a titanium version. They stopped. And I have looked around for it. I can't find anybody selling one. And then probably if they do, it'll be an arm and a leg. You know, like, I don't understand why they're still not making it. Maybe they figured it was too expensive. I don't know. So that didn't make a lot of sense. But you can cook a full meal with an alcohol stove. Even though you got no settings and everything else, you have to learn to use your lids, okay? Lids keep moisture in. Lids keep it cooking. I mean, you have to learn how to use your lids when you're using an alcohol stove. That is very, very important. It is what it is. So this has worked out good. I need a new ever new alcohol stove because of the weight. That's about $35. I got that sitting in my cart. My windscreen comes in tomorrow. My gels come in tomorrow. So I think I've got this complete kit now worked out. And this is pretty good. Now to make a meal like this that's this large. This took 3 ounces of alcohol. That's quite a bit of alcohol, you know, when you do. And it's the alcohol that actually weighs the most in this whole complete setup. If I didn't need the alcohol and all you ran was a twig stove, you're looking at, if I wasn't running the alcohol stoves and all that, you're looking at about 1.5 pounds setup if all I was going to use was twigs. But alcohol does make things happen a little quicker. And that's what it's about. It's all about speed. Let's say I wake up in the morning. This is not put together, okay? Takes a couple minutes to put it together. But if I throw this crossbar member on top of the alcohol stove, then it's a lot quicker, isn't it? Throw 1/2 ounce of alcohol in it and throw that on top, and boom, I've got an instant tea or coffee. So understanding your amounts will save you what you're doing. This will hold probably 3 days is what that would hold in alcohol if I was having this elaborate meal. So anyhow, if you're curious about what I got here and what I got set up, I'll have links in the bottom. I mean, most of this stuff is not expensive. Even my titanium cups and stuff are not super expensive. I'm not sure if they sell it all, but if they do, I'll have a link in the bottom because some stuff I've had for a very long time. Like this alcohol stove, I've had it for 20 years. The ever new titanium alcohol stove, I've had that for 20 years. This bottle, I've had that for 20 years. A lot of stuff I've already owned and had for a very long time. So to put this set together, I basically cannibalized a little bit from here and a little bit from there to get it together. But can you have a complete meal with an alcohol stove? Sure you can. Yes, you can bring a couple, have a good meal. You're really only limited to how much alcohol you bring, is what you are. And I would say that's probably the heaviest thing in this. All right, I'll stop jabbing. But I hope you guys are doing fine with these gas prices. They're going up. I predicted 5. I might be wrong. They might be going higher. We're already at almost 4 here. So, and that is sad. So I'll catch you guys on the next one.